Newswatch 16 is sponsored by your local Ford stores. Check out Ford's full lineup and build your new vehicle at buyfordnow.com today. From WNEP, the news station. This is Newswatch 16 at 6.
Hundreds of rabbits taken from a home in poor condition.
The overwhelming task for an animal shelter and its employees. It's our top story on Newswatch 16 at 6. Good evening, I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Scott Schaefer. When a Lackawanna County humane officer was called to a home with rabbits in poor condition, it was a shock to find nearly 200 of them, all needing medical attention. Newswatch 16's Courtney Harrison joins us live in our newsroom with details. Courtney.
Lisa and Scott, the folks at Griffin Pond Animal Shelter near Clark Summit are accustomed to jumping in and helping animals, especially in a hoarding situation. But they have never had a case that dealt with such a large number of rabbits.
We didn't expect 200, so this was a big undertaking.
Crates on top of crates filled with rabbits inside Griffin Pond Animal Shelter near Clark Summit. Lackawanna County Humane Officer Marcy Zeiler says she received a call regarding rabbits at a home in Covington Township. The estimate was 40 rabbits needing rescue, but that number quickly grew, overwhelming the staff at the shelter.
We're at capacity as it is, so we don't really have space. So they're all set up in crates up in our community room. We ran out of crates.
Zeiler says all of the rabbits taken from the home near Moscow are in bad shape. Some need more medical attention than others.
Most of them are pretty thin, if not emaciated. A lot of them have eye issues. Some of them have ulcerated eyes. Some of them have eye infections. There was very strong ammonia, so we're dealing with some upper respiratory issues.
Employees and volunteers at Griffin Pond have worked tirelessly over the past 24 hours to feed the animals and figure out how they're going to care for the nearly 200 rabbits and 1 guinea pig.
All of these need vet care. They're all going to need spay and neuter, so it's going to be a gigantic financial undertaking for the shelter.
Zeiler says the biggest hurdle in this case is they've never had to take on this many rabbits at one time, and they've reached out to other rescues to help. The biggest concern, besides the cost of care, is making sure the number of rabbits doesn't increase.
We're working on just sexing everybody so that we're not continuing the issue, so we can get females with females, males with males.
Zeiler says charges will be filed once the investigation is complete. Shelter officials are asking for rabbit cages or large wire dog cages, along with any rabbit supplies and donations. If you have experience with rabbits, you can apply to become a foster. We've included all the information on how you can help with this story on WNEP.com. Courtney Harrison, Newswatch 16, reporting live in the newsroom.
Courtney, thank you very much.
One person was killed in an overnight fire at a high-rise in Lackawanna County.
A 72-year-old woman died when the fire tore through her apartment on Railroad Avenue in Peckville around 12:30 this morning. More than 60 people were removed from the building by first responders. Most were able to return by 11 a.m.
A woman now faces criminal homicide charges after a fire in Luzerne County. Officials say Lisa Stroudsburg admitted to setting this fire at an apartment complex in Kingston. Her husband, 74-year-old Wilbert Smalls, died from breathing in smoke. Smalls also faces arson charges in Luzerne County. Back in Lackawanna County, the Scranton School District has officially moved out of the financial recovery phase.
Pennsylvania's acting Secretary of Education signed off on the move today. The Scranton School District is only the second Pennsylvania school district to be released from recovery. District officials say hard decisions were made along the way to get the district's budget back on track.
We have fixed up some of our buildings, and we continue to do that, but we're in much better shape with our buildings being safe and healthy. And now the focus needs to remain on why we're here.
The Scranton School District is now in the monitoring phase, meaning the state gives control back to administrators and the school board, but officials say there is still more work to be done. Tonight's county council meeting in Luzerne County could be the catalyst for change in how its government is run.
A key vote is set to be considered tonight. Newswatch 16's Chelsea Strew breaks it down for us.
Luzerne County is one of 7 counties in the state that is incorporated under a home rule charter, meaning the residents of the county can make decisions at the ballot box about how they are governed. 12 years ago, people in Luzerne County voted to adopt a new charter to go from a commissioner form of government to what it has now, a county manager and 11 council members.
The big thing between the commissioner form of government and the current form of government under home rule is the commissioners were the head of both the executive and the legislative branches of government. In this form of government, the manager is the head of the executive branch, and the council is the head of the legislative branch.
Tonight, council is expected to vote about whether or not to start a process that could lead to the county going back to a commissioner form of government or changing it to something else.
Well, I think there's several people who feel that the charter, and the way it's written, there are some deficiencies in the charter, and feel that it's necessary to have a study commission to look at that.
But that doesn't mean any changes would happen anytime soon. Several votes by both council and by county residents have to take place before that would happen. First, tonight, a member of council will introduce the idea of adopting a study commission ordinance.
Who looks at the form of government that's in place, and they're able to write a form of government that they think is better.
If 4 out of the 11 council members are in favor of the introduction, then an official council vote will take place on January 24th. That vote is step 2, where a majority vote by council would lead to the inclusion of a question on the May primary ballot to ask voters if they think a study should be done to look into changing the county's government.
And if it gets support, if it receives more than the majority, then of course there would become a law that would go forward. And the next step would be you have to decide on the membership.
Third step is for 5 residents of Luzerne County to run for positions on that study commission. An election for that would take place in November's general election. The fourth step would be for those 5 members to propose a new charter or governing system for the county. Then that would come to a vote as early as the May primary in 2024. Chelsea Strube, Newswatch 16, Luzerne County.
Well, it is time for change in Stroudsburg, maybe a little more pocket change than you're used to.
Folks are paying more at the meter. We'll review the new rates for the new year here on Newswatch 16 at 6.
Plus the updated timetable for this road closure. Drivers here, you better get used to that detour. But first, Chief Meteorologist Kurt Aaron in the backyard.
Yeah, we had a little rain, a little drizzle here in the backyard, a couple of flurries as well, nothing major. We're going to talk about a forecast that includes some measurable rainfall and then some colder air behind that. Details on the way. Stay with us. You're watching Newswatch 16 at 6 o'clock, and we are proud to serve Lewisburg and everyone who lives in Union County. Beautiful shot there of the bridge. We'll be right back.
Stroudsburg is upping its parking rates, and not just for meters, but parking tickets, too.
Newswatch 16's Amanda Eustace shows us how much more you're going to have to pay.
Max Kubiak is used to paying the parking meter here on Main Street in Stroudsburg when he goes to the gym. But today was the first day he had to go back in his wallet to pull out more change. And it's not because he was working out longer than usual.
Didn't quite go as far as usual. I think it's about half off now, so instead of 30 minutes it was 15, so just popped a couple more in.
Kubiak, like many, has been doing a double take when it comes to putting money in the meter. The borough is upping its parking rates, and not just for meters, but parking tickets too. The fine if you forget to pay the meter is $30. That's up $10 from last year.
Honestly, we need more money for our budget. And instead of raising property taxes, this is a way to make it more fair so more people actually paid in the income. And I think this will work out really well.
Up until now, 50 cents would get you 1 hour of parking. But now it's going to take $1 to get you 1 hour of parking. And people here aren't happy about it.
I have to put in how many quarters for 2 hours, right? 8 quarters, which I don't have on me. So it's going to be a problem. It's going to cut my, dining short. And yeah, it's really absurd. Really absurd. Discourages people from coming into town, that's for sure.
Lawrence Kopp is the borough manager. He says money from the new parking rates will go right back into the borough, helping with projects like repaving the streets.
It's about 40% of our properties are rental properties in the borough, plus all of the people who come in to shop or visitors. So they're going to help pay for the services that before it was basically carried on the back of the taxpayers.
Kopp estimates overall the borough will be looking at a $500,000 increase in income for borough services. All parking meters will be updated starting next week. Amanda Eustace, Newswatch 16, Monroe County.
Stay Staying in the Poconos, it's going to be a bit longer until Route 611 between Delaware Water Gap and Portland reopens. This section of 611 has been closed since December 6th when heavy rains caused a rock slide. Officials say construction to secure loose rocks will take at least 6 more months. In the meantime, detours will continue here in Monroe County. It is a fight to keep the doors open at Camp Trexler in Monroe County.
More than 24 campers and camp leaders came out today to show their love for the camp in Polk Township. That's getting ready to close its doors. Back in March, the Mincy Trails Council of the Boy Scouts announced plans to sell the camp to help fund a multi-billion-dollar settlement involving thousands of sex abuse claims. But that wasn't everyone's experience at Camp Trexler. Hear from the people pushing to stop the sale. Coming up on News Watch 16 at 7. We are in for some weather changes later this week.
Kurt Aaron rejoins us with your Storm Tracker 16 forecast. That is next at 6.
Anytime you see news happening in your community, let us know. Just text the word TIP, T-I-P, to 570-826-1616.
And Kurt, it wasn't especially cold today, just gray.
Yeah, mid-30s here in this backyard. A few spots climbed into the low 40s. But that's about where we should be this time of the year. That light snow, we had those sprinkles as well. That's what we've seen here in the 16 backyard. Let me show you what it looks like. Big picture, the lower 48. I'm sure if you've been watching the news at all, you've been seeing all the flooding going on the West Coast. And you can see California there. Just from the north to the south, it's rain. And boy, do they have a lot of stuff going on there as far as watches and warnings. I mean, in the red there, you got winter storm warnings. The greens, these are all flood watches. The browns here, these are flash flood warnings that are going on. So many things happening with that storm system out there. For us and most of the lower 48, it's pretty quiet. We scan across the country and got a couple of, looks like light snow showers up there in the Dakotas, and sprinkles too. Outside of that, we had just those sprinkles, as Lisa mentioned, a couple of flurries around. That's what we have right now. So weather headlines, quiet weather for us at least. Above average temperatures continue, and we'll be looking at rain showers late this week, Thursday and Friday, and then colder behind that system for the weekend. So let's talk about temperatures now. Look at Lewisburg, still at 40. Williamsport, 38. Scranton right now is at 35. Pottsville also at 35. And we have mid-30s in the Poconos. Live look from our roof cam, showing the traffic nicely there. 81 north and southbound, 35. Temperature, high today, 37. So that's just a degree above our average high for this time of year. And we have a north breeze at 3 miles an hour. Now, we stay cloudy through the evening hours, but notice overnight we see some breaks in those clouds. But all in all, it's still going to be a colder night with more seasonable air. We're looking at overnight low should be 21. We're going to dip down to 25. There's our temperature trend. If you have any plans this evening, maybe you want to take the dog for a walk, or you got to run some errands, the weather's going to cooperate. No issues there. 25 will be the low in this backyard. Sunrise at 7:28 in your backyard. Honesdale's down to 24. Montrose 23. We got 25 in Hazleton. Williamsport, you're down to 28. And then tomorrow, after that partly cloudy start, more clouds move in during the day, unfortunately. So we may get a little morning sunshine, but then those clouds quickly take over once again. Then Wednesday night into early Thursday, they try and clear out, as you can see here, but watch what happens. There's that system coming up from the southwest. That's going to bring us more clouds for Thursday and the possibility for showers. It looks like it'll be mostly rain out of this. There's temperatures for tomorrow. Wednesday's highs, as I mentioned, just a little bit above average. We'll be in the low 40s tomorrow. 40 there in Stroudsburg. Mountaintop, Freeland, you'll be in the mid and upper 30s. Southern tier and out in central Pennsylvania, likely in the low 40s for places like Mifflinburg and in Williamsport. Now, rain chances, they go up again on Thursday into Friday, and then they flatline once again for the weekend. Here comes that next system right here. Notice we've talked about track many times. The track's a little bit more to the northwest. Then we're on the warmer underbelly of this system, and winds begin to pick up out of the southwest, and that influences temperatures as well. So we're going to see that, at least at this point, that's the way it's looking. So that would be mostly rain, and then as it pulls away, you can see winds come out of the north, and they change rain rain showers over to some snow showers. So notice what it does to our temperatures. Really gives them a push down there for the weekend after we get close to 50 degrees. Even with all the clouds and rain on Thursday, thanks to those winds coming out of the southwest, we'll end up with warmer temperatures. And then the weekend looks quiet, cold but quiet. Mid-30s where we should be, and a good deal of sunshine, both Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon. And the weather looks quiet the first couple days of next week as well. So cold but quiet, I'll take it.
We will too.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt.
Yep.
It's been a slow start for the Bucknell basketball team.
But the Bison are home this week, hoping for some magic at Sloika Pavilion. Ron's in next with the word from Lewisburg, here on Newswatch 16 at 6. Ron's in the newsroom talking Bucknell.
The Bucknell Bison men's basketball team still searching for its first conference win this season. The Bison battle Loyola at home tomorrow. They've won 6 straight games. Comes down to making baskets, and as you can see at overtime, they struggled in this loss to Lafayette over the weekend. Didn't hit free throws either. 10 of 21 from the free throw line. Coach Davis says it starts with shooting and having confidence. They go back to the basics as they try to win tomorrow against Loyola.
Well, I think confidence comes from the work you put in. Our guys are putting in work, and so they should still be confident. I know it's hard to say, but they should still be confident because we've done it. They've done it before. They're putting in the time, and so as long as we're taking good shots, it should go in. But if you or I had the answer to that question, it was the automatic way, we'd be very rich.
Newman Regional Academy fighting to repeat as state champions. The Golden Knights have lost their last 2 games, but they're still 6-4. They play at Benton area on Thursday. Star guard Davion Hill says they go into every practice trying to be as intense as possible to be better. They want to make sure that they have the tight team chemistry that they need to succeed. They know that every opponent is going to give them their best shot after winning it all, and it all starts with defense.
Everything. Zones, different type of zones, full-court presses, better man-to-man defense, everything to just go up against better teams, because coming off a state championship run, we definitely are going to have some tough teams down the stretch.
The Steelers in an unfamiliar position, not in the playoffs. Head coach Mike Tomlin admitted he's focused on winning so much he didn't even realize he was getting ready for the offseason now. The Steelers finishing up some exit meetings to prepare to reset for 2023 after missing the playoffs. Now, they did beat the Browns in the last week of the season, but the Jets lost to the Dolphins, giving Miami that last playoff spot. The Steelers having their players meet with the staff to evaluate what they need to do to improve going into next season. Also figuring out some injury plans so that everyone is ready and healthy. Tomlin admitted things were very vanilla with rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett running the show, but he expects more fireworks next season in year number 2 with Pickett.
What you saw from us was what was appropriate, particularly over the second half of the year in an effort to engineer victory. As we move forward, man, we're continually trying to get better and get better in all areas. And how does that shape and affect your personality? It does. It does in all 3 phases. It does individually and in totality. But it's our job as coaches to do what's required to engineer victory.
Well, only the final whistle could stop Georgia from pouring on all those points in the national championship game last night. The Bulldogs stopped TCU 65-7 to win back-to-back national titles. That's the biggest blowout win in bowl game history. Quarterback Stetson Bennett grateful to have so many weapons around him.
I mean, you know, I've been with Monk for 3 years. We brought back pretty much the entire core of our offense from last year, so we were all clicking. So, I don't know. We had a really good offense. It makes me proud, you know, of what I've accomplished.
And if you see me in the streets like the Scranton swimming team, show some love. Taking Everybody Knows Ron picture. Put them all up on Facebook and Instagram. Everybody Knows Ron on both. Everybody needs a friend.
All right, Ron. Well, winter isn't all that dark and gloomy.
Mike Stevens shows us some proof of that.
Winter has its moments, good and bad. A few on the brighter side coming up in the Photo Link Library.
Finally at 6, we take a look at the better side of winter.
Mike Stevens says there are a few scenes to be found in this visit to the Photo Link Library.
From Jennifer Henning in Whitehaven, proof that there is something for us to look up to. Proof we can get some brightness even in the dark of night. True, it's not much, but judging by this Laura Dolly image from Williamsport, it's enough to get the locals talking. Of course, there are those who take a stern view of even these moments of lightness. This is from Eileen Chorba of Beach Lake. Well, to each his own. Tell the truth, winter's story is best told moment by moment. Seconds caught on camera, as here by Jessica Sable in the Poconos. A foggy January afternoon here from David Penunti in Whitehaven. What we find on the ice as here, spotted by Nancy Scherer in Stevens Township. What we find under the ice, for that matter, Carol Elliott of Mount Cobb found this scene. Or what we find while on a balmy 60-degree morning walk, as Kathy Moore saw in Rome. A lakeshore dappled with snow thanks to Derek Gleason in Lackawanna County. Winter's cold embrace seems loosened, at least for a moment. Jesse Hoffman suggests this scene at Bud Pond can do that. Even the familiar becomes different in winter's light, provided by the sun. This is the Watsontown Bridge, captured by Tammy Reepson. So we best take a look outside, near or far from us, to see what we find. Maybe a winter sunset, a moment caught by Christian Barlow, Pennsdale. A day that smacks of early spring here from Tim Crowley at Wallampaupack Creek. Each place we look, there is something to brighten the winter darkness. Good luck in your search. I'm Mike Stevens in the Photo Link Library.
That is Newswatch 16 at 6. Up next, World News Tonight with David Muir.
Remember, Newswatch 16 is always on at WNEP.com, WNEP Plus on Roku and Fire TV, and on the WNEP app. We'll be back in 1/2 hour for Newswatch 16 at 7.